So, where are we right now on this roller coaster, as you were telling me just before we hit on air? Where are we right now?
We've seen the market yo-yo between the 6,100 mark all the way down to 5,500, 5,100 over the last 9 months. But what has broadly happened is during this time, a lot of stocks have declined significantly. And it's not clear that that trend is over. We got a major intermarket divergence in the period between Jan and May, which is that the broader indices like the mid-cap indices did not make a new high when the Nifty made a new high in May. And that kind of divergence typically occurs when you have, very long-term trend reversals. And these happening at highs means that these are levels that would probably not get crossed for, a long period of time. And by long period, I mean 18 months or more. And so being very close to the 6,000 mark puts us very close to a top rather than a bottom as far as the market is concerned. Whether you get that last bit of upside up to 6,000 or more remains the question mark. But apart from that, the chances are the risk is to the downside. So the upside is limited, if at all, and the downside could be significant once again because we haven't really seen strength in the broad market. It was extremely oversold at the end of August. But this rally has been mostly driven by index stocks and not by the broad market, and that essentially makes me feel that we still are in an ongoing bearish phase that is not over.
Okay. No, I also, and I think many people feel that way, Rohit, but just sort of bear with me and just hear these numbers out. And somebody sort of sent this to me earlier today. So, we saw about $4 billion worth of selling, right? One of the sharpest bouts of FI outflow after the global financial crisis recently. We've got about $1 billion in already. If you go back and see very sharp episodes of rupee depreciation, and then see what happened in terms of FI activity after that, these are the numbers. The rupee lost about 13% between September and December 2011. It was followed by about $8 billion of FI inflows over the next 3 months. The rupee lost 11% between March and June 2012, and it was followed by about $6 billion coming in over the next 3 months. This phase, of course, for the rupee has been even worse. We've seen a fair bit of outflow. Recently, we got about $1 billion in over the last 10 days. How do you think about this?
No, money has probably come in over a period of time, but that has not kept the overall market healthy. If they are if they are only investing in a narrow list of stocks. When we discuss the broad market, when we are looking at the market as a whole, we are looking at various sectors within it. Then we are really not seeing performance, whether it's real estate, whether it is infrastructure. Now it's been public sector banks. Now it has spilled over to private sector banks. The last sectors holding up over the last quarter, and probably the only reason why the index keeps coming back to the 6,000 mark is IT and probably pharma. So these I would call as the last performing sectors. And the deep cuts in the Nifty, which have not happened irrespective of stocks, would only happen once these sectors actually top out. And that might not be very far away. At least for tech, my sense is that we are probably almost topped out there too.
If there's one sector which most fundamental analysts, Rohit, are extremely bullish about, it's tech. They say US, the biggest market, is recovering, and at the same time, the rupee is extremely weak, and that's happened. I mean, that combo has happened after a very long time. I mean, so it's got very strong, very strong and powerful tailwind.
But a lot of that might already be priced in, what you need to start considering is what would happen if you start tapering to the US economy. What would happen? What is happening in Europe, which is it's already slowing down except for small pockets, which is keeping up the growth. When you put all of that into perspective, you might be at the end of even a US rally. Our sense is it's also in its final legs. Probably my thought was that the August top should hold. It should not be surpassed, but we are very close to that. And if that does not happen during this week, then we would probably have a confirmation that the US top is essentially in place, and so you would start getting a downward drift from the US market itself. So you might have priced in all the positives that you're seeing related to the tech sector, and what you would need to start pricing in is the potential risks to the downside even in that sector.
Yeah. A very narrow, coming back to the Nifty, a very narrow group of stocks holding the Nifty and getting the Nifty back to 6,000. So, I mean, to have a view and then trade that through the Nifty, I would a view like yours and trade that through the Nifty, I guess, it's a good idea or a bad idea, Rohit? Or, I mean, are there better instruments to express that view?
One way you could do it is you could actually choose stocks that are the weakest. So when we actually do a trading portfolio on stocks per se rather than Nifty, then we choose the weakest stocks. We don't try to catch the top. So even though tech may look topish, it might not be our best shot. We would probably prefer weaker areas like banks or metals to sell. So right now we already partially short on the metals. So that's the approach when you're trading stocks. You have to look for the weakest segments because those would immediately reward you rather than the Nifty. But if you're purely trading the Nifty, I think the one good thing from a trader's perspective is you're getting very trending moves now versus what you have been getting in the last couple of years, where we had months of range bound moves, and that would make it really difficult. You didn't get rewarded on your view immediately. But since January, I think you're seeing very clear-cut moves. The Nifty moves by 500, 600 points in one direction, then it moves, a similar amount in the other direction. So if you can just pick the highs and lows, or at least position size yourself once you have significantly moved in one direction, the rewards are there. So what we have seen, we were bullish a week to 10 days back. At the beginning of September, essentially on the extremely oversold condition. We've moved out of most longs, and we are starting to look at building shorts as we come closer to above the 5,900 mark.
And what is the best indicator to assess weakness? Because the market also whipsaws so much that it becomes tough to say, well, what levels should you hold in some level of sanctity and things like that. Big, huge whipsaws.
Yeah, our underlying model remains the Elliott wave model for forecasting what markets are going to do. And when you have a direction, any Elliottician knows that directions are always in 5 ways and counter trends are in 3. So one of the ways that we do it is we always look, if we are bearish, we are always looking for anything completing 3 waves up, and that becomes a short. So same with the Nifty, every time it does 3 up, it becomes a short irrespective of what that level is. So sometimes we just have to wait. We don't know whether it's going to be 61% retracement or it's going to be 78% retracement. We just have to wait for that structure to complete and then look at taking action from there on.
Okay. Let's just talk about the rupee for a bit, Rohit. What's your view there?
See, the currency to me has been in a bull market since 2008 and it's nowhere complete. What we are seeing right now is a correction within a very large upward trend. That correction retraced 61% of the July rally, what we saw from July to September at yesterday's low of around 60 to 70. So my sense today morning is that 60 to 70 holds. We are ready now to start the next move, which will take us to 71 and probably to 77 in the months ahead. Now, would that happen immediately, or would we see the USD INR actually consolidate between 62 and 65 for some time? Would remain an open question, but my sense is that the chances of consolidation are looking reduced simply because you've had a pretty deep cut in terms of retracement recently, and in that sense sometimes you do often get the beginning of the next move. So you might have actually started the next move towards 71 and higher right now. Okay, so 60 to 70 you think holds, and basically we start the move again. So you'd be opening long dollar positions? Yes, we would be opening long dollar positions over here.
Okay. And irrespective of the view on the currency, view on tech, etc. holds, right? That the techs might have topped out.
Yes, that view continues to hold, that the techs might have topped out irrespective of the currency.
Okay, got that. Rohit, thanks very much for joining in. Great to have you with us here, as always, with your thoughts. Thank you. Rohit Srivastava at Sharekhan talking about markets. Let's take that break. We're back in 2. Jay Shankar, somebody who watches macros, and of course in the backdrop of what's happening politics-wise, he's joining us in our studios when we return in 2 minutes. Back.